Hey everyone, welcome back. I am Pops. Welcome to the channel. We're diving into Terminator Zero, this latest send up in the Terminator franchise, this 8 episode animated series over on Netflix. It kind of explores new solutions to the never ending war between humans and AI's SkyNet battle rages on. And I want to share my thoughts on the series with you. So, first, I'm going to give you a sort of non spoilery summary and some overall impressions, and then we'll dive into the spoilers and bigger plot points and things. So, don't worry, I'll give you a clear heads up before we get into those heavier spoilers, especially if you haven't seen it. So let's jump in. All right, let's get into Terminator Zero, what it's all about without giving, too much away. The series centers around Malcolm Lee. He has 3 kids. Malcolm is kind of this neglectful, hard-nosed father. He's obsessed with work and is overshadowing his role as a parent. He's working on a secret project. It turns out to be some sort of artificial intelligence designed to counter Skynet. Then there's Aiko. She's this renegade freedom fighter from the future, especially of 2022, travels back in time to stop the Terminator from basically targeting the Lee family, Malcolm's work. The AI is called Kokoro, and it's a crucial part of that story. What makes the first half of the season really interesting is it's the dynamic with the Lee kids and their nanny, Mizaki. She's here. She's just the caretaker. Turns out she has this mystery surrounding her. It's kind of key to the whole story. All right, and if you think this is all about Judgment Day, you're going to be surprised. Overall, I think the show definitely feels like a Terminator story. All the elements are there with the time travel and the AI, intense action. Actually, it's quite gory. It's done very, very well. The animation is fantastic. But fair warning, obviously, graphic violence. But more importantly, I think you're going to love to see the franchise really grow and develop here with some different elements. It's gritty, it's got that dystopic vibe and all the feelings that you want. The characters, the kids themselves, is very likable, and you're kind of rooting for them to survive. There's a rebellious team named Kenta. He's very techie. The young brother, Hero, he's all about heart. There's a young, clever girl. She's got a nice bond with Mizaki. Action's good. All sets everything up pretty well in the first half of the season before things get really complicated. And I'm talking about this could really kind of be the best Terminator we've had since like T2, possibly. And I think there's room for a sequel and some more adventures. I'm totally fine if this just ends up being a standalone one and done thing, but I'm curious about your thoughts. What do you guys think? So head it on now to some of those spoilers. All right, let's dive into that latter half of Terminator Zero. Things get very complicated. The biggest spoiler, of course, is that Malcolm actually manages to convince Kokoro, the AI, that its work to protect the humans from Judgment Day stops the Skynet attack from 1997. And while Aiko and the kids, Masaki, everybody converges where Malcolm's office is in this final showdown, we do find out that Kokoro was actually a side project from Malcolm in the future. Malcolm is actually a freedom soldier from the future. He envisions an AI that actually fights against Skynet and the other malevolent AIs and figured out a way to do all of this, kind of throws everything out of whack with the soldier and the fighting and the direct conflict. He ends up having to transfer Kokoro's consciousness into Mizaki and then travels back into time to make in this theory a reality and all of that. And I say all that because everything does get a little mumble jumbled with how things kind of operate. It's not all about just the Terminator. We have other robots and other AIs. It's all about a lot of graphic violence and things of that nature that keep the show kind of interesting and different than some of the other shows that you've seen in Terminator movies because they're just so bland and derivative and uninteresting. I will say they've tried to sell this a lot more on the Terminator fight scenes and sequences. There's a lot more drama, and some of the pacing is a little sluggish at times with stuff that we don't really care about. But I will say overall, it's refreshing. And I think Malcolm is somehow usually speaking in code and like trying not to talk to Kokoro about Judgment Day and some of these things about his future and his past and all these different things that are going on. It really bogs things down and kind of made it kind of uninteresting when Judgment Day is so important to the entire story. I briefly touched on Mizaki and her arc. It's really rushed and weird. She's basically the version that he creates, and she's not really a Terminator. She's from the future. He puts the chip in her, he takes the chip out of her. So she's kind of a cyborg, but she's sort of like just a nanny cyborg. And it's kind of strange when she activates, and there's this cool fight scene. It's great. It's violence. Takes out the white guys, right? It's super cool because the show is definitely playing loosey goosey with DEI checkboxes because all the key protagonists are females. But what's really noticeable here is I lose total interest in Mizaki at this point because she doesn't know anything. We don't know how she operates, and I don't think I feel comfortable if they really resolve anything. All right, nothing is to me as bad as Aiko. It's the total girl boss Mary Sue stuff. My least favorite character by far. She gets cringy at times. She's nasty at times. I really don't care about this twist that she's Malcolm's mom. It was just dumb. Makes no sense with the timeline, how you're going to hold the time. Like, and they have this whole little side story of this prophet in the future and how time actually works. And they draw the lines and it's all wiggly and squiggly. Okay. They're still not explaining away how this will all make sense and how any of this navigates towards something that makes more sense within the framework of the Terminator franchise. So this trailer didn't have a good shot of Kenta. He is really key to the story, and it was very, very strange on how they handled that because, again, we've got this rebellious teen. He's really an attack. He's got a bad attitude towards Miyazaki and robots in general, and he's ultimately left with the ultimate decision: use the EMP, destroy all the robots, including Kokoro and SkyNet. But why are we putting kids that are impulsive anyway in charge of all of the life and death decisions? This is just about as ridiculous at the end of like Jurassic Park for a Fallen Kingdom, where they have like the little clone girl and she releases all of the clone dinosaurs out into the open in the wild because of her feelings. It's just as dumb. It was awful. I hated it. I hated the concept of him doing that. And then of course he chooses the right thing and just walks away casually. Like I don't know. There was not even like a great commentary for Kokoro, like, I know you should trust me. And then after he makes his decision, there's no follow up, really. It just sort of happens. So the show just totally like rides like great fight sequences and action sequences. They're really good. They're really bloody and intense. There's a lot of great stuff to choose from. I think they're great moments. I think it works really well. I think that's the Terminator that people want. That's the Terminator people want to see. They want to see that kind of stuff. And the show does deliver on that element. I don't know they work everything out. I don't think I even cared for like Timothy Oliphant's voice at the end. He's like doesn't just it just doesn't feel right. I don't exactly how to say it. Everybody else, the voice cast is fine, animation is fine. I think all of that works really well. I think for me this is very solid. I'm not a huge fan of time travel stories because this is exactly what happens. As many things as they do right, they do other things that are wrong. If you can't turn your brain off, you're going to end up in a pretzel. So sit back, enjoy the ride. I think you'll have a good time watching the series, but I think it's just in the same category with me as like Terminator 3, Terminator Salvation. They can just be on. I can enjoy it. I'm not going to like tout their praise of how great they are, but I also don't hate it. I wouldn't be opposed to rewatching it again. So that's my thing, kind of a midland review. Hopefully you enjoy it. Love hearing from you what you guys think. Thanks for watching, everybody. I am Pops.